Guys, it's Letty and I'm back after a very long holiday. So welcome to my YouTube channel, and it feels really weird having somebody here while I film. I'm used to filming alone. Thank you for welcoming me. You too, welcome or welcome back to our YouTube channel. And it has been a while and I've missed you guys and I've missed filming. And we have this is actually a very special edition because we have someone here. There's a stranger in our midst. There's a stranger in our midst and he's smiling. Why are you smiling?
Because I'm not actually a stranger. I've been following your handle for some time now.
He has been following us for some time. I'm embarrassed. I'm very embarrassed because I know the videos that are on the channel. So you guys, we're talking about a very special topic today, and we have a doctor in our midst, Dr. Chike. Welcome to our YouTube channel. How does it feel sitting in front of all these lights and cameras?
Well, I'm already used to that anyway. It's not a new thing. Thank you for having me on your platform today. I don't know why you say that this is like I'm new.
He's new now. You not new. Have you shown your face here before?
Okay. Based on that, I'm new, and I'm happy that you're having me on your platform to share some knowledge about something also peculiar and interesting to discuss about as regards health, relationship, and marriage.
Yes, we're talking about health, relationship, and marriage. So we're going to be talking about Rhesus Factor in partnerships and in marriages. So if you're getting married, if you're about to get married, if you have a boo that does not have another boo and you're thinking of getting married to that person, this is actually a very interesting topic. So sit, listen, open your ears and your eyes and shine your eyes, okay? So moving on, Doc, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. We're very happy to have you here.
You're welcome.
Yes. So Dr. Chike specializes in family medicine, by the way, if I didn't mention that. He specializes in family medicine. And so, Doc, please, in layman's terms, emphasis on layman's terms, please, can you tell us what Rhesus Factor is?
Okay, our topic for today is Rhesus Factor as it pertains relationship, marriage, and also family, because just like she said, I'm a specialist in family medicine. Okay, so family is the smallest unit of every community. All right, so Rhesus Factor, like she said, I need to break it down so that our viewers out there can also understand and be able to relate to what we are about to discuss. Okay, it is a special protein, if I'll put it that way, a special protein that is being located on the outer surface of the red blood cells. At least I believe that I'm communicating by this. Okay, so it is only seen on the surface of the red blood cells, making it unique. It can be positive when someone has the rhesus factor on the red blood cell, or it can be negative when there is no rhesus factor. Okay, actually there are just two forms. Okay, rhesus factor positive and rhesus factor negative. Okay, so when you don't have it, when there is no presence of this special protein on the outer surface of the red blood cell, it is negative. So there's issue which I'm going to buttress on as we go along with this discussion, but there's nothing to fear about. Then if you have it on the surface of the red blood cell, it is positive. Okay, so at least that's that with in a nutshell, the meaning of Rhesus Factor and what it stands for.
Thank you, Doc. That's very interesting. So how can the Rhesus Factor come into play when considering marriage and starting a family?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Anyway, in a light term, its Rhesus Factor is very important in relationship, but it will not deter anyone from getting to tag along with anyone that is not compatible. Probably if I'm positive and you are negative, that will not forbid both of us from still starting up a relationship and getting to marry and all that. But it is very important that before as we are into the relationship and all that, knowing that fully well that we want to get married, okay, is worthy for both of us to know our Rhesus Factor, because it goes a long way to also make us prepared on what might happen in future. Okay, because Rhesus Factor is something that defines, like I said, it defines the blood cell of an individual. Okay, whether you're positive or negative. Then when you're negative, you need to know, such that when you are now pregnant, because the problem mostly comes as regards women when they are pregnant, okay, or during child delivery, or even in transfusion. Okay, so that's why before you get transfused in the hospital, your blood group must be assessed, as well as your rhesus factor, because they help to now know which kind of blood are you able to get, so that there won't be any transfusion reaction. The same thing applicable here in rhesus factor. So before you get into marriage, it's also part of the premarital test. Hospitals and even some churches also request before someone goes on to wed or to marry. Okay, but if you are positive and your partner is negative, or if you're negative, your partner is positive, that will not deter you from getting along with that marriage. But what it does here is that it preempts you to make a possible arrangement on what to do in order to forestall or prevent the sequelae or the consequences pertaining to the incompatibility. Okay, once you do that, you are home and dry, because the game here is for you to be aware, then prepare for it to prevent, because the key word here is a prevention. Put measures in place to prevent it from causing problems to the fetus, that's to the baby. Okay, and you know that when these kind of things start happening to a family, there will be family disharmony, and once there's family disharmony, it's going to affect both the family, the individuals, community at large, and we wouldn't want that. So we want individuals that are in relationship to go and test their blood group and their rhesus factor. Okay, then once you get married and you are pregnant, you must have to bring it up to speed, bring your doctor up to speed that yes, so I'm rhesus negative, especially if you're negative. Though of course your attending obstetrician must also evaluate for that. That's why it's advisable at 8 weeks when you're pregnant. It's always advisable for you to register with your obstetrician, so that they will monitor you and do all those basic investigations, so that at each point as you're progressing, they will be monitoring you and also intervene when necessary. Okay, so I believe that's that about relationship and marriage. So go ahead and marry who you want to marry, but please make sure you know where you belong to, because that will help you to forestall any attending consequences if your rhesus factor negative and you're marrying to a rhesus factor positive husband. Thank you.
So, Doc, it's important for both the man and the woman to know their rhesus factors, right?
Yes, but it's more important for the woman here to know her rhesus factor, because women beget children. Okay, because the problem is during child delivery most of the time. For men, of course, you need to know, because if you want to be transfused some types of blood, okay, because just like I said, they are on the red blood cells. So we have other types of red blood groups. We have blood group A, we have AB, we have B, we have O. Okay, but these rhesus factors are on each these blood types. So we now have A positive or B positive, AB positive or AB negative, O positive or A negative. It's rhesus factor that defines those type of red blood cells. Okay, so as a man, you need to know, because if I'm rhesus factor positive now and they want to give me rhesus factor negative blood, my body might react to it. Okay, so it's not advisable to take blood that is not compatible to your system, because it's going to cause a lot of havoc to the system. So that is where it pertains to a man. But here, rhesus factor most of the time is more important to be known to be ascertained in a woman, because they get to be pregnant and they get to produce children, and children suffer this. Sometimes even the child, they get to lose the child because of this rhesus factor incompatibility. When the child has this rhesus disease, and because you were not able to check, the previous question you asked, and even that you were aware of your rhesus factor status, if it is negative, of course, you will now be able to put measures that will prevent you from getting sensitized. Because whenever a woman is about to give birth, there is a blood change. Actually, in pregnancy, the woman does not actually get in contact with the baby with her blood. It's during delivery. Some part of the fetal blood or the baby's blood, in quotes, okay, will get into the maternal system or the mother system. Or if the woman is undergoing surgery, cesarean section, some blood of the baby can also get into the woman's system. By that, if the woman is negative, the body will now be sensitized to produce some what we call antibiotics or soldiers of the body, so that, because they are seeing that as a foreign body. No, you are not meant to be here. So they will naturally mount these soldiers to fight it. Okay, so most of the time, the sequelae is not with the first child. If one is not prepared for it, is in the subsequent pregnancies. That's why sometimes you see a woman, she will come to you, hey, I don't know what is happening to me. It's like village people are following me up and down. That after my first child, other ones has been dying from this. I will deliver after a few minutes, the one will die. I will deliver this one will die. This baby is very yellowish. It's because of the woman has been sensitized, so it keeps on affecting the baby and all that. So it's always pertinent for women to know their status because they beget children, and wouldn't want that to be affecting the outcome of their child delivery, because every mother that's expectant should be able to deliver a baby and carry her baby and nurse her baby. I believe that will give the woman, the feeling and happiness she deserves.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Doc. Thank you. That's like really important information for people. So, young men and women, knowing your rhesus factor is very important. Even if you're a man or you're a woman, please know your rhesus factor. Especially a woman, know your rhesus factor. Okay, so moving on, Doc, can you buttress on preventive measures or treatments for RH incompatibility, especially during pregnancy?
As a family physician, I'm a first contact doctor. We preach prevention is better than cure. So, and prevention here is all about enlightenment of individuals or people to know their rhesus factor status. Okay, because by knowing that, you have forestalled a whole lot of consequences that might have followed it if one is not aware of our status. So, I think what we need to do is to, and you, our viewers out there, also to communicate to people, tell people that they need to know about their rhesus factor, especially when they are pregnant. Now, and also to book early when they are pregnant for antenatal, do their routine investigations and follow through, because this rhesus factor we're talking about, it can happen at any time. Okay, that's why before things that can also cause the sensitization of the woman is not only child delivery, like I mentioned earlier, either through vaginal delivery or via cesarean section. Can also have it. The woman can also be sensitized when she's undergoing miscarriage or abortion. Okay. Or when there is some invasive techniques or surgeries when the woman is pregnant. Sometimes if need be, if the pregnancy is not going the way it's supposed to go, or if there is an anticipated problem with the growing fetus or baby inside the womb, okay, there might be need for some certain kind of surgery or special investigations. So by doing that, if the woman is not aware, or if the attending physician or obstetrician is not aware, which is less likely anyway, of the woman's rhesus factor, the blood of that baby is going to now seep into the mother's system, and that is not what we want. But it can happen when you are aware, no problem. Once after the procedure, because you are aware of the woman's status, can give you a rhesus immunoglobulin, and that will mop up those fetal red blood cells in the mother's system, such that they won't create these antibiotics. Okay, so that is the main focus here, prevention. Letting our people understand what it's all about to guard against it. Preventive measures. 1, know your status. I've said it again, I'll keep on saying it. Be faithful with your antenatal care. Do not take anyhow drug when you are pregnant. Anytime you notice any form of spotting in your pregnancy, please don't manage it at home. Look out for the next nearest hospital if you cannot be able to get to your attending obstetrician immediately. And because you are aware of your rhesus status, please, as you are getting to the hospital, as you are seeing a doctor, first thing you need to tell the doctor after complaining that, okay, I'm spotting you, please, doctor, I'm rhesus negative. Of course, whenever a doctor hears that, doctor knows what he or she needs to do immediately to forestall the impending doom. So at least that will serve as the major preventive measures you need to institute to forestall the complication following rhesus incompatibility. That's why I encourage people to go to hospital when they are pregnant. That's why I encourage people to know their status, because in some remote areas where they don't have all these equipment to also test for this, you as an individual already know your status, so you can tell your doctor, please, I'm rhesus negative. Then your doctor will now prescribe Rogan for you to get and keep. Okay, sometimes at 28 weeks gestation, that's when we'll give it. Then we'll not give it after delivery, within 72 hours of delivery, because after that 72 hours, chances that the body has already mounted antibiotics against it is very high, and nothing can be done about it. Okay, so you now be when a woman is sensitized, the only management option left now is to deliver the woman on time. And when you deliver that woman on time, you need to follow up that baby. So most of the time, you see doctors doing total exchange transfusion for the baby, so that they can remove most of those blood cells and put another blood into the system. Okay, so this
that's the baby out.
Of course,
it drained the baby out.
It's not like she's saying it. Okay?
How did I say it?
It's a movie you're putting. So
you're draining the baby. So that means you're automatically changing the baby's blood type.
Yes.
But can you do that with adults?
No. It's called exchange blood transfusion.
Does that happen in Nigeria?
Of course, no. But everywhere.
Do we have the facilities to carry out such? So it's like you're carrying out dialysis. Do they do like a machine, or it's done out manually?
No, it's done manually, because these are babies we're talking about. In a very sterile, environment. But it's a very it's mostly done by pediatricians, anyways. But you as a family medicine or first contact physicians, you are primary care doctors. So you have to also get yourself abreast with all these techniques, because most of the time we work in remote areas, okay, where they cannot easily get tertiary care level or even secondary care level. So you get to know all those things in order to assist the individual, by that you're assisting the family and the community at large. Okay, so we need to know all those things. Then it will help the individual to make an informed decision. So for me here, the take home here is that always go to hospital when you're pregnant. Of course, you've known your status. Don't be scared of your status, or don't be scared of your partner if they say that your partner is rhesus negative. No, rather be happy about it. Okay, because you've known about this, so the preventions are there. Take the prevention and nothing will happen to your baby, because the people that suffer here are the babies. Then when the baby suffers, there will be family disharmony. Once family disharmony, there will family disintegration, which will affect the community at large, and we don't want that in the family.
And God will not allow us to be in remote areas where the doctor does not have equipment. So in Jesus' name, amen. Speaking of which, Doc, in the instance where the man is rhesus negative and the woman is rhesus positive, is there cause for concern in that particular situation?
If the man is negative and the woman is positive,
and the woman
is positive, no, there's no problem.
But like you said, it's a genetic problem. I'm trying to be logical here. So what if in the instance, like you say, sometimes the woman's body becomes becomes sensitized, right? And most times children end up with their father's blood type, right? So what happens in the instance where the woman gives birth and then her body, that particular child's negative rhesus factor gets introduced into the woman's body system? Is it a possible scenario?
Well, I want to believe you're asking for your viewers, because
I'm asking for a friend.
Because I believe I've already talked about this in the introduction, that rhesus factor are special kinds of protein that are seen on the surface or the outer surface of the red blood cells. It defines the type of blood group that we have, whereby I mentioned A, B, and O. Okay, so when there is rhesus factor negative, it means that you don't have anything, so there's nothing to worry about.
Oh, it's the positive you should be worried about.
Of course, it's the positive, because you as a woman, you are negative, you don't have it, I have it, I will get to marry, so I'm putting something that you don't have in your system. Fine and good, it is in the uterus, it's in the womb. Like I said, the woman does not suffer it until when there is exchange of the blood of the baby with the maternal's blood. If everything grows the way it's supposed to go, such that, which is less likely, such that the fetal blood will not get into the mother's blood, of course the woman will not be sensitized. Okay, that's why if I'm negative and you're positive, there's no issues, because I'm the antigen, I'm the foreign body coming into you, so I don't have anything, so you don't have anything to react.
So what if it's the other way around?
Of course, if I'm now positive and you're negative, that's what we're talking about since. So that's why when the baby's blood, because from positive, the high chance that the baby will positive is there. So getting that blood of the baby getting into the system of the mother is going to cause a whole lot of havoc, okay, for the subsequent pregnancies. And that is what we don't want. We don't want that to happen.
So, Doc, as much as you're saying women should know their resource factor, I think it's also important for men to know their resource factor, because, like me, I'm on my own and I'm very negative, balling, chilling, nothing right there, and then I end up marrying somebody that is positive with plenty resource factor inside his blood, and then I'm carrying his child that is causing havoc in my own system. Do you see where I'm coming from? I'm fighting for the women that are negative.
I know, but I know you're not an 18 minutes. Anyway. But regardless, yes, the guy or the man should also be aware of his status.
Very important.
It's important.
Yes.
Okay. But the most important one, like I said, is the woman. Because she's the one that will suffer these consequences vis-a-vis the baby she's having. Okay. So when a woman comes to the hospital for antenatal care, you do her basic investigations and you find out that her blood type is negative. Of course, you need to ask, what is your husband's blood group? But 80% of men have Rhesus Factor positive. Rhesus Factor positive.
Anyway.
Okay, so that is why whenever we have a Rhesus Factor negative woman, even when the man is not around, for example, for us to get that information, we assume that the man or the husband is positive. So we need to institute those preventive measures to forestall sensitization or development of antibodies in this woman's system. So that is that.
Okay, so you see, Doc, I'm getting it now. I wasn't understanding. All these plenty medical terms that you were speaking was kind of giving me a headache. I was having a headache, but I think I get it now. So it's safer if I'm Rhesus Factor positive. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Than for me to be negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also safe if you're negative. There's no.
I'm just saying, because you said 80% of men are positive. We're not putting anything out there. Oh, you're all safe, negative, positive. All of you are safe. But we're just saying from the women's side, yeah.
I want to say something real quick. Okay, if the man is negative, the woman is negative, no qualms. No need for you to start getting those drugs. No need for the physician to start being apprehensive, monitoring you and the baby and all that. If I'm positive, or if your partner is positive and you're positive, no qualms. Because they are like poles, if I'll put it that way. Okay, but if the man is positive and the woman is negative, there's a problem. The qualms there. Control qualms, not just anyhow, not control qualms. Because the problem is that when you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know, but when you are aware of your status, the preventive measures are there. In fact, everything helps, but that's on prevention. If you don't want to get any disease, venereal disease or viral disease, we always preach abstinence, prevention, using help me. What do you use again? What they call it again? The terminology for contraceptive. Okay.
I don't know why I know that. I know nothing about what he's talking about.
We already put it out there, so we expected that our viewers and people at large already know, because it's very important.
Yeah,
so
very important.
If you don't want to suffer from severe malaria, use repellents, sleep on. So everything about health. If you don't want to have typhoid, don't take dirty water. Don't put your hand in the bum and put in your mouth. Don't just eat anyhow. So everything about health. Just like COVID that just happened.
Wash your hands, cover your nose.
Thank you. Cough with your elbow, no longer with your hands and all that. 2 meters apart. But if in those things, you are preventing oneself from getting disease. So the same thing now. Here now, the goal is the baby from getting Rhesus disease. Okay? So prevent it by knowing your status, getting a shot of immunoglobulin after delivery, within 72 hours after delivery. Because you are fine. Nothing happened to your babies, nothing happened to your system. The babies will live on fine while you live on fine.
Doc has mentioned Rhesus disease more than 2 times now. Doc, please, Rhesus disease. How does a child in the womb get Rhesus disease? Abeg.
Okay, Rhesus disease is when a child is born by a rhesus negative woman, and that woman has been sensitized. You know, after the first delivery in a rhesus negative woman, and there was no shot of Rogam or rhesus immunoglobulin given, the human system will automatically engineer antibodies against this rhesus positive antigen. Okay, now in subsequent pregnancy, these antibodies will now recognize the fetus. Remember, of course, she's married to a particular man, so still the same. Thank you. So in the next pregnancy, that antibodies in the system already will now recognize the foreign body that came before, and now this time around it's in the womb. They will now start attacking the fetal red blood cells or the baby's red blood cell. You know, we normally use fetus when the baby is still inside the mom's womb. Okay, when the baby is outside, we now start calling baby. Okay, so but I'm just using it for our viewers to try to understand what I'm trying to say. So when a baby is being delivered by a woman that is rhesus negative and sensitized, the baby most likely suffers rhesus disease, because those antibodies in the human system will get to attack the fetal red blood cell. That's why they usually die few minutes after birth, or you have fresh stillbirth. As you are delivering them, you notice that they just died a few hours ago. Okay, or you born them, they are very yellowish,
Like jaundice.
like severe jaundice, not just jaundice, severe one, and which affects their liver, affects their kidney, affects their basal ganglia. We call it connectors in our terminology.
God,
Okay, and the chances of this baby making it is very slim. And then even when they make it, most of them turn out to be CP. We call it cerebral palsy.
Oh God.
Okay, whereby they have this motor dysfunction, you see, and all that. Stand properly, they can't coordinate. The IQ is very low and all that. They can't coordinate. They have problem with their motor activity. These are sequelae or complications following all this. Okay, but most of the time you see a dead baby, and these are things we don't want in medical practice, because we know the toll it takes on the family, especially on the woman. Okay, so that is rhesus disease. The child is suffering. Okay, so the only thing that when you have it, you now, of course, you have to do something. So if a child is being born and already you know that the woman is sensitized, normally we cancel for early delivery. Chances are there that you will need to salvage the situation better than when you allow it to the pregnancy to progress to term. Okay, because by allowing that, chances of the baby dying is very high. If you deliver on time, of course, you now prepare for exchange blood transfusion, like I said before. Okay,
draining the child of their blood. These doctors.
Draining and putting immediately, because you don't. If you drain, of course, the person will lose life. So that is managing the disease now. Okay, then after which you also have to put the baby under a special form of light we call phototherapy. Okay, then you follow the pregnancy or the baby as the baby progresses. These are, you are now trying to manage the disease, just like you've developed a particular disease, pneumonia. Of course, you go to the hospital, the doctor will now manage the pneumonia to bring it out. Okay, but the goal here is to prevent that disease from coming. That's the essence of this interview, this section we're having, to prevent it from coming. And that is that. Once you're able to prevent it, no problem. Anybody can marry. I can marry negative, I can marry positive, and all that. But only lies on the couple to know the status. With that, there's no problem. But please, I'm not encouraging us to marry ASAS. I want to draw that line.
He's not encouraging you to marry ASAS.
I'm not encouraging.
It's a doctor and says don't do that.
So we don't encourage that. So please, always check your genotype, your blood group, and inform your attending physician or obstetrician when you go to hospital to manage you accordingly.
doctors and plenty English. Anyhow, doc, I just want one quick question before I ask you another question and then we round up. Yeah, still on this resource disease thing. Sorry, my mind is blown right now. So resource, for a child to have resource disease, it's usually subsequent children, not usually the first pregnancy, is it?
Yes. No.
Anyway.
But yeah, no, you're correct. Say usually. So usually yes. The only time the first pregnancy might be complicated with this rhesus disease is if there is what we call a early hemorrhage. You know, that's when the baby is still inside the mother's womb. Then there is some problem. There might be some issues that will not lead to the seepage of the fetal blood into the mother's system. Okay, it might happen in first trimester, okay, or second trimester. So by the time the baby now gets to third trimester, remember the body takes minimum of 3 days to synthesize these antibodies. Okay, so if it happened earlier in that pregnancy, okay, so that the woman didn't even know and the managing team didn't know about the rhesus incompatibility, of course the antibodies that is being formed will start attacking that fetus or that baby up until delivery. Okay, but the chances are there in the first pregnancy that is very low because this is the first pregnancy. So most of the time when there is contact of blood between the mother and the baby is during child delivery, either vaginal or cesarean. Okay, then if nothing is being done, this blood will now sensitize the mother's system. So in the next pregnancy, of course they'll be waiting, even if subsequent ones, not just the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. So it's not something, in fact it's something that we fight to prevent, because we know the toll it takes on the woman and the family. Consequences are not something we like. Okay, delivering a child jaundiced and all that, end of the day the child will be vegetable. No, it's not good. So please, we need to take the bull by the horn ourselves.
Doc said take the bull by the horn. Take the bull by the horn. Okay, Doc, one last question before we round up. Does your resource factor, negative or positive, affect like your general health, or does it have to affect your lifestyle?
Capital no. I believe during the course of our interaction, I also said that whatever be your status, you will get to live on fine. Okay, the baby, whether negative or positive, the woman positive or negative, the man positive or negative, there's no problem. Okay, so it has no attending health challenge as regards to your status. So that is why I said you should not be afraid of your partner if they say their partner is not compatible with you. Okay, so you shouldn't be afraid of that. Thank you.
Wow, I'm enlightened. I don't know. I can't. My smoke is coming out of my head, Doc. Wow, Doc, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I've been meaning to do this for a while because I know the people have questions. I have questions, and a lot of people have these questions. Thank you so much, Doc, for coming on the show. See, if you have any questions, please comment below and I will pass it across to Doc. And if it's something that requires us to make another video, our family doctor will come back here and address those questions, right? And if you really liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I like your comments. I'm always looking out for your comments, so please comment on this video and tell me your thoughts. If you have any questions, put them below. I'm not the doctor, but there's a doctor around. There's a doctor in the house. So you guys, this is me signing out, and thank you for a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time. Doc, did you have a wonderful time? Was it very serious for you?
Not really, Shabo. I don't like being put on the spot.
Yeah, so I had fun. I really had fun. So you guys, peace, love, and lots of avocados. See you next time. Bye. Doc, say bye now.
Bye.